Somewhere near your kitchen, right now, there is probably an egg. You crack it into a pan without thinking twice. It feels like the most ordinary object in the world, but that egg is proof of something strange, because the bird that laid it broke a rule that every other bird on Earth still obeys. Wild birds lay eggs for a few weeks a year. One clutch, then silence. Sometimes for months. A chicken on a farm can lay one egg almost every single day, all year long. Same basic animal, same ovary, same biology underneath the feathers. So why does one bird treat egg laying like a once-a-year event and the other treats it like a full-time job? Most people assume it's just food. Feed a bird enough, and eggs just happen, right? That's not quite the answer. The real answer is about a switch inside the bird's brain, and humans found a way to jam that switch permanently on. This is the story of how a farmyard bird got hijacked out of nature's own calendar. And by the end, you'll never look at a carton of eggs the same way again. Let's start with the wild bird because it explains everything. Picture a wild hen in early spring. The days are getting longer, just a little more light every morning. That light hits her eyes and travels straight to her brain. It flips on a hormonal cascade, one that scientists have traced back for decades. Researchers studying this pattern, going back to work by Whetham in the 1930s and Byerly and Moore not long after, found the same thing again and again. Longer daylight triggers the reproductive system to switch on. Her ovaries, which have been small and dormant, suddenly start to grow. This is not a coincidence. It is a survival calculation. Because chicks need warmth, they need bugs and seeds to eat. They need weeks of daylight to grow strong before winter comes back. Lay eggs at the wrong time, and the chicks freeze or starve. So evolution built in a lock. Eggs only happen when the light says it's safe. Once she lays enough eggs to fill her nest, usually somewhere around 10 to 15, something else kicks in. She stops. Her body reads the full nest as a signal. The job is done. Now she switches from laying to sitting, keeping the eggs warm, waiting 3 weeks for them to hatch. If you took one of those eggs away every single day, she still wouldn't just keep laying forever. Her body is counting. Her instincts are counting. She has a number in mind, and once she hits it, laying shuts down. That is how almost every wild bird on the planet still works today. Now here's where it gets strange. Somewhere around 10,000 years ago, humans started keeping the wild ancestor of the chicken, a jungle bird from South and Southeast Asia, and started doing something no predator, no season, and no instinct had ever done before. They kept stealing the eggs. Every single day, a person would walk into the coop and take what was there. And something happened inside those birds that nobody planned for. Because the hen's body was still counting toward a full nest. But the nest never filled up. It was always empty by morning, so her body never got the signal to stop. It just kept going. Day after day, trying to reach a number it could never reach. Generation after generation, humans didn't just steal eggs. They also chose which hens to breed from. And without even realizing the mechanism, they were quietly selecting for one specific trait. Hens whose stop switch was weaker. Hens who kept laying longer before giving up and going broody. Over thousands of generations of that quiet selection, something remarkable happened. The stop switch essentially got bred out. Modern egg-laying breeds are now what scientists call indeterminate layers. Unlike a wild bird, which lays a fixed determinate number of eggs and then locks the door, a modern hen behaves as if the nest is never full. Take her egg, and her body just tries again tomorrow. It sounds almost tragic when you put it that way. A bird stuck in an endless loop that used to have a natural finish line. But there's a second piece to this puzzle, and it's just as strange as the first. Remember that light switch in the brain, the one that controls wild birds? For a long time, scientists assumed domestic hens still needed that light signal too. But recent research, including work published by Baxter and Bédécarrats in 2019, found something surprising. Many modern commercial layers can start producing eggs even before the seasonal light increase that used to be considered essential. In other words, breeding hasn't just weakened the when to stop switch. It has also loosened the grip of the when to start switch. Farmers figured out they could exploit this even further. Poultry operations run lighting programs that mimic an eternal, gentle spring. Around 14 hours of light a day, carefully timed year-round. To the hen's biology, it is permanently the one season nature designed her to breed in. No winter, no darkness signaling, not now. Just an endless, artificial April. Combine that with a body that never gets the clutch is full signal, and you get a bird producing an egg roughly every 24 to 26 hours, week after week, for most of the year. It's worth pausing on how bizarre that actually is. Somewhere in the ancestry of a farmyard hen, wild instinct told her body exactly how many eggs made a family, and exactly what season made it safe to start. We didn't argue with that instinct. We didn't override it with a machine. We just kept taking the eggs and kept turning the lights on until her own biology quietly stopped asking those questions. And here's the part that should really make you pause. Chickens still molt. They still slow down with age. Their bodies aren't infinite machines. But compared to their wild cousins, they are working a shift that nature never intended any bird to work. So next time you see a carton of eggs, you're not just looking at breakfast. You're looking at 10,000 years of humans quietly rewriting an animal's internal calendar, one stolen egg at a time. The wild bird still waits for spring, still counts to a number only she knows, still knows when enough is enough. The chicken in the coop lost that number a long, long time ago. She's not broken. She's not confused. She's just still trying to fill a nest that we make sure is always empty.